Before the world there was silence, and then a mistake. She acted alone, and from that act came something broken. A blind creator, a prison of light. We've been trapped inside her error ever since. If you too reach beyond your station, check out Pantheon Apparel, a clothing brand inspired by myths, legends and folklore. We ship worldwide and are rated excellent on Trustpilot. Link in the description. Pleroma. It's a Gnostic concept. It means fullness, something far more alien than perfection or divinity as we usually imagine them. A metaphysical realm beyond time, beyond death, beyond even creation itself. A reality made entirely of spirit, no flesh or form, no distance between beings, only being itself, undivided and whole. At the center of the Pleroma is the source, the ultimate origin of all things. But it's not God in any personal sense. It has no name, it doesn't rule, and it doesn't create with intent. It simply is, an unchanging, absolute principle. The Gnostics called it the monad, the one, the ineffable beginning. A being so far removed from the world, we know that it can't even be said to act. From this source, the divine realm unfolds through emanation, a cascade. Beings emerge as consequences of pure existence flowing outward. These beings are called aeons, eternal principles, divine minds, emanations of the source's inner nature. Each aeon reflects a specific attribute of the divine: thought, will, grace, truth, life, light. They emerge in pairs, known as syzygies. Male and female, active and receptive, always balanced. Each pair reflects a harmony of opposites, stabilizing the structure of the Pleroma like pillars holding up a temple of spirit. Together, the aeons form the architecture, a hierarchy of spiritual beings who do not rule over anything. They simply are. There is no chaos in this realm, no decay, no passion, no movement beyond what must unfold. It is a closed circuit of perfection, a stillness so complete that even thought moves like light across glass. But not all aeons are created equal from the source. The further they emanate, the fainter the echo. The outermost aeons dwell near the boundary of the Pleroma, closest to the threshold where spirit might collapse into shadow. And it is here we find Sophia. She is wisdom, the raw metaphysical force of understanding. She too was one half of a syzygy, paired with Christos or Theos depending on the version. Their union reflected the union of mind and spirit. Their role was to contemplate the source and reflect its truth back to the Pleroma. But Sophia was not satisfied. A yearning stirred within her, something unprecedented. She wanted to understand the source directly, by reaching toward it herself, alone. This was not allowed. There are no commandments in the Pleroma, but there is structure, and Sophia broke it through curiosity, longing. She tried to bring forth something from herself without her pair. She emanated alone, and from that unauthorized act came the first rupture in reality. Something was born that did not belong, something malformed, and perfection was lost. What Sophia enclosed was a new condition of existence. The space surrounding her emanation was unlike anything else the aeons had known. In the Pleroma, all was complete, but this was partial, a realm defined by what it lacked. The Gnostics called it kamona, emptiness, absence, a space where form could exist without source, where movement was no longer tethered to harmony. Time began here. Division began here. The structure Sophia had shielded her creation within became the first veil. Subtle, luminous, but unanchored, and something within it began to stir. Inside the Kanoma, something opened its eyes for the first time with no memory of what had formed it. It simply was, aware, alone, and powerful. This was the Demiurge, Yaldabaoth, a being born through isolation. shaped by a process no other Aeon had ever known. He saw nothing beyond himself, and so believed there was nothing beyond himself, and in that ignorance he spoke the first false truth. I am God, and there is no other. With that declaration, the veil sealed behind him. The Pleroma fell silent, and within the Gnoma, creation began. He drew from the faint trace of Sophia still embedded into his being. He sensed power and used it. He sensed structure and mimicked it. But the result was incomplete, unstable, an order built without context. To hold it together, he generated extensions of himself. These became the Archons, rulers of the realm he was building, each one a distorted echo of the aeons above, bearing function without essence, authority without origin. They governed by design, enforcing boundaries Yaldabaoth himself could barely comprehend. Sophia watched from beyond the veil. She couldn't undo what had taken shape, but her essence was now scattered throughout it, threaded into matter, light, breath. The world Yaldabaoth created bore her imprint, even if it did not know her name. The Pleroma remained untouched. Beneath it something had begun, something incomplete, and now it would grow. Sophia was not cast out, but the world had changed, and she no longer stood where she once did. The veil she had formed to contain her emanation became a boundary. A presence hovered between two realms, the Pleroma where fullness remained untouched, and the Gnoma where something new had begun to stir. She was no longer home. There was no return. Her essence had been drawn outward, extended into a realm that did not yet understand what it was becoming. That movement was irreversible. Sophia's light began to scatter. It passed into the unfinished, into matter, into time, into the breath of a world that had been shaped without knowledge but still bore her trace. The Gnostics believed this light, this divine spark, is within us. Something of her resides in every living being as a memory so distant it feels like longing, a pull towards something we cannot name, and yet somehow we recognize. We don't hear Sophia, we ache with her. The material world doesn't oppose her, it conceals her. The structures built by Yaldabaoth and his Archons offer order without understanding, form without insight. It is a system that convinces you there is nothing outside it, and within that system the spark sleeps. But there is a way back, through Gnosis, direct knowing, a recognition that the world is incomplete, that we are incomplete, that the questions we carry are remnants of something older than the cosmos itself. To awaken is to see through the world rather than escape, to feel Sophia's presence as revelation. Each awakening is a point of return, for us and for her. Her redemption? It unfolds with every fragment that remembers itself, every spark that wakes, every soul that sees clearly for the first time. She is within, and her return begins when we remember what she never forgot. Sophia's story is the framework we still live inside. A world built by something blind, maintained by systems that reward imitation over understanding. We've learned to call it progress, order, reality. But the Gnostics would call it the same thing Yaldabaoth built. A perfect illusion. We wake, we work, we consume, we repeat. And the structure holds. The Archons have changed their faces, but the pattern remains. A world that keeps you too busy to remember, too distracted to ask what's missing, too tired to look for what's been forgotten. And yet the spark moves. It always does. It stirs in moments of beauty that ache, in grief that feels too deep to name, in questions that never go away. Every time something in us looks beyond what's given, Sophia moves through us. She has never been a goddess to worship. She is part of us that refuses to sleep. Awakening. Her story isn't a fall from grace. It's about what we do with the fragments left behind, whether we keep repeating what the Demiurge made or remember what she lost, trying to reach something higher. Maybe the world hasn't changed at all. Maybe we're still trapped in the moment she reached too far. The question isn't whether Sophia will return. It's whether we will.